A salary is the drug they give you when they want you to forget about your dreams, because it's very easy to stay in that world where somebody is mitigating your risk. You just have to perform certain tasks, do them well for a third of your day, and they will feed you a salary.
It's the one and only Afghala, and we are live on Being Afghala right here on Discover Music Channel. Of course, I have my better half, DJ Trill.
Yes, sir. What's the deal, Pickles? Is everything kosher?
Okay. I don't know what that is. Today we are going to talk about ethiocide and the loss of cultural artifacts in a digital world, as well as, of course, we're going to talk about Hurricane Beryl that just shocked everybody as one of the first hurricanes of the season. So without any further ado, let's get into the culture, because I want to talk about culture. You know, I talk about all things culture, all things entertainment, all things, destinations. So on the cultural end, Trill, you might as well tell them what happened to MTV recently.
It's no more MTV News. They took them. They got rid of them. Everything got deleted. If you try to go find MTV News or music videos, you're not going to find them.
All right. So recently, MTV News, last year, actually, 2023, they had been the victim or the result of downsizing from Paramount as they decided to do a series of layoffs. You know, when companies buy out companies and they're underperforming, they start doing an evaluation as to how beneficial they are to the bottom line without thinking about how important they are to culture. And this exercise has shown us that as a culture, we're vulnerable to the eradication of an entire group of people's experience. And everything that we thought was good about being digital, now with time, we start to realize that, one of the journalists from MTV said it best: digital isn't forever. Somebody can erase the master key, the main database, and everything that you've known can be erased without a trace. There might be ghost files, but there's no real reference to that information. And this is my own belief, with the integration and the integration and the introduction of artificial intelligence, because we are not writing the programs for these learning apparatuses, a lot of the times our human experiences in various ethnic groups will not be represented, because we're not writing the codes that help these artificial intelligent learning agents learn.
We probably are writing the codes. We don't know. You never know who's behind the code writing.
The majority, if you look at the way that the majority of AI responds, it is written by people that don't look like us.
No, the other side of the palm.
Yeah. So if you put in information and you see the way information is being disseminated, you know for sure that information is coming from people that don't look like us, because the information is not factual. And one of the other things, the biggest thing that I have concerns about when it comes to technology And again, I've been an advocate for people of color and various ethnicities to be a part of technology from its early inception, because I understand that ownership is key and everybody should have representation. However, it doesn't matter how brilliant you are. We still have to assimilate with the cultural side of that particular industry. So, it's just like when the government goes into power, they have all these great ideas, right? And then they get in and they have to assimilate to the way things are done in those places, in those spaces. And a lot of the times the change that they initially started off with, or the ideas or the ideologies that they came with, kind of fall to the waistline because they find out quickly that they're not able to make the changes as easily as they thought. It is so much paper, it's so much red tape in it. And with technology, while we do have representation, our representation is still under 10% in the market space. So we may have people that are writing the codes, but are they the ones that are checking the codes?
Nope.
So at some point in that information funnel, we're erased. Our voices are erased. Our experiences are erased. And with things like MTV being erased, 2 decades of culture, interviews with people like Nipsey Hussle and all of these rappers that have died, and entertainers that have passed on, people that are no longer here that you cannot go and get a new interview from. I think that I experienced that in 2018. My website of, at that time, it would have been 12 years. It might have been a little more than that. It went down. And it went down because of a glitch in the system during some forest fires in California. The servers didn't upload fast enough. They didn't beat out nature. And as a result, thousands of websites were left with ghost files and no servers or database for their content. So I woke up one morning and portions of my websites were missing. That was 12 years of documentaries, of interviews, of podcasts, of things that I just can't get back. And I had to start from scratch. So what that taught me was, one, to have a physical backup. But the other part is that technology keeps changing. In the last 18 years of our business, we have seen so many variations of technology and how technology is changing, as well as how hosting platforms have changed. The things that GoDaddy used to do in 2003, 2006 are not the same things that they do now in 2024. And as space becomes a high commodity on these platforms, we're going to see even more changes that are not going to be beneficial to the end user, but more so for the service provider. So if a company decides that they don't want to invest anymore in server space for cultural content, that content and those people's experiences can be erased at the click of a button. Now, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but how do you feel this the erasing of this particular database, when you look at it from a cultural perspective, how does that impact the history of us?
That impact a whole lot because we formulate most of the music. So 1984 to now, erasing all that. You're not gonna have no more interviews of Biggie, no more interviews of Pac, no more interviews of Michael Jackson, Prince, nothing.
Well, I think
How can we get to, like, some of the kids probably don't even know who Prince is.
right, but I think more so that the MTV News, because we have to think of it from a digital perspective, right?
Right.
So digital really got its legs in 1998 is when people really started going online. But it wasn't until the early 2000s that companies adopted digital as a preference as opposed to print.
Right.
So I think that we're safe with the 80s through the late 90s. You might have some missing portions in the late 90s, right?
Yeah, probably 99, 2000?
Right. So let's say from 98 on to 2024, that is 2 decades.
Yeah, almost.
That's almost 3 decades. Well, yeah, it's almost three
3
decades of culture, of conversations, of interviews, of political conversations, of just so much that has happened in the culture. You know, when we start referencing things, there's no place to pull this information up because that place is gone.
And you know what? I did. That is funny because I did go on YouTube today to look for an old Michael Jackson video. I couldn't even find that video. And that was crazy because I'm like, I know I saw this video. Now all of a sudden I can't find it.
Again, when companies decide that their server space is valuable, okay, let's look at it like this. Elon Musk bought Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about the millions and millions of data that Twitter holds. In order for him to make Twitter make sense for him, he's now monetized the platform and changed the way we communicate on that platform.
Right.
So a lot of the times, a lot of your information is erased if you don't have a premium account. So,
okay.
Well, you know that's why I said we're now in a different state of media communication and big data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in a space where now we understand the value of big data. We understand the value of we understand the value of social influence. We understand the value of these platforms. And now, in order to make money and make sense, a lot of things are being removed or have a time limit on it. The reality is server space costs money.
That's what they're trying to save. Just server space.
Server space costs money, right?
Right.
Like I said, I have 18 years of doing DI Radiocast, aka Distinctive Impression Multimedia Group. And over the course of this, I can tell you I have about 20 or so hard drives. From the early starting hard drives, when hard drives, the maximum you could have got was 512 megabytes to now where I have upwards to 4 to 6 gigs, right?
You mean 4 to 6 terabytes?
Terabytes, I'm sorry. 4 to 6 terabytes. So we've seen so many changes in space and data consumption, and even the quality of the audio and video that are going out now. I remember when we first started doing video, we started doing video podcasts. That was in 2007, 2008. We started doing video podcasts, and we were only allowed to do upwards to 10 minutes at 250 megabytes. So you could imagine what that video quality looked like.
Yep.
And-
Horrible.
But that was what was allowed at the time. That was the max that was allowed at the
And
time.
that was the best quality too.
And that was
at
the
that
best
time.
quality. Exactly. So we did about 4 seasons of video, and then we reverted back to audio because we looked at the way people consume content. And most people, when they are listening to a podcast, even if it's video, they listen to it. It'll play in the background, but more times than likely they're listening to it. So it didn't make sense for us to add additional, because we were paying for that. We were paying for that additional stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It didn't make sense for us to pay for that additional stuff when we knew that people consumed listening, and audio only had more availability for distribution through the RSS. Of course, now you can distribute video through an RSS, but the reality is, on places like Spotify and Apple Music and other places, there's still podcasts is still audio only. The only place that you will be able to listen to or watch a podcast would be on YouTube Music. So why invest so much time and energy in creating this visual product when out of the 52 platforms that you're streamed across, only 3 or 4 of them actually provide video? For me, as a small business without any sponsors, it makes more sense fiscally to do audio only, because that takes up less bandwidth. It takes up less space. Like currently, the last 2 years of podcasting for our network, I've had to invest in larger platform, larger server space to accommodate holding those files. Now, keep in mind, this is after I lost 5,000 plus clips or audio podcasts from 12 years of content, including 10 shows that aired weekly on our network for approximately 3 to 4 years. So if you think weekly, that's 52 shows per year for 4 years. All of them equaling up to anywhere between 167 megabytes to 250 megabytes per show, times 10. And we were on the same server for 12 years. After the fire, after the so-called fire, I took a break because I was like, I just lost. It was like losing a child. I had just lost everything. And to get that back, we went back and we got all of the things. And every year since that, our expense has increased. So I now have three business servers to manage my content, which is why we went into consumer subscriptions, because we need something to be able to pay for that space so we could continue to provide that information. While Paramount and Viacom and everybody else are large companies, that server space, because again, they're filming in broadcast quality, they're doing, the audio quality is different, everything is at 320, well, all of our content is at 320. Everything is at 320, so the sound and the visual quality is high, so they have high definition content. So their servers are going to take up a lot of space. And after a while, if that server space, if nobody's paying for those archives, what do you do?
Delete them.
Yeah, so now I'm at this place now because, like, we're 18 years in. September 5th, we'll be celebrating 18 years in business. 18 years of content, 18 years of music festivals, of carnivals, of cultural activities, of photos, of audio, of podcasts, of mixes, all of this stuff, music that defines our culture. And I have to pick and choose what I'm going to get rid of.
The only thing I could say, you might have to go out and get like a 10 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah. But the problem is, okay, so you have this 10 terabyte hard drive, but that
Ain't
it's
nothing
that's
gonna be
for
able
you.
to run it.
That's for you.
Ain't nothing gonna be able to run it.
No, but you have this 10 terabyte hard drive, right?
Ain't nothing gonna be
How
able to
do
run
you
it.
share that content? How do you preserve that content? Think about it. How do we know about culture? We have
TV,
we have
MTV,
we have
BET.
archaeologists, right? That go out and they discover all these ruins. In these ruins, they have writings on the walls.
Hieroglyphics.
They have papers in papyrus that they found, books and stuff like that they found, right?
Right.
They don't even teach children how to write anymore.
Not in cursive.
They don't teach children how to write anymore.
Not in cursive.
So in this digital era, the last 20 years, right? We have erased things that we used to put importance on, like handwriting and writing skills. Most people don't know how to spell because we have predictive text, we have emojis, all of these things, right? And these are all digital. If you look at somebody that was born in 2000, they should be about 24 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at their handwriting is deplorable and almost illegible. Reason being, the majority of their life, they've used computer devices. If the world gets off the grid tomorrow and computers are no longer a thing,
We have a whole.
how are we communicating?
Yeah,
How are we understanding? How are we finding out information?
it's only gonna be
There are no dictionaries.
What
There are
are
no
we?
libraries.
What are we? Gen X or Gen Z? We Gen X, right?
I don't know what generation you are. I hear.
What
I
the-
don't know.
All right, let's say we Gen X. We're the
Right.
last of the Mohicans.
Okay.
We are. We know how to write. We know how to spell.
Hmm.
We know about the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
We know about the thesaurus. They don't know nothing about that. Gen Z, they don't know nothing about that. And then the new population, they definitely don't. All we got to do is take these phones and the iPads and the computers away. What they gonna do there?
Well, okay. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, right, was preserving culture and family values, keeping tradition alive. And they said to preserve culture, and this is a Google reference. I looked up scholarly resources because when you're doing research, you should look for scholarly resources. By prioritizing, it preserves through technology and community involvement. Again, we are preserving based on our experience right now in technology. One of my favorite songs was Still Standing by Goody Mob, where he says that he would be immortalized on wax CDs and cassettes, right? Mm-hmm. In my era, and I've done all this work, 18 years of work digitally, and an additional 10 years of work analog, and all of my 3/4 inch tapes are no longer here. They got thrown out or burnt in the fire. The TV show that I did doesn't have any video archive of it, right? The radio stuff that I did, there's no audio archive of it. Then I got into technology, and we have documentation of these things. They're on different types of hard drives. And that information, again, compatibility. There are some CDs and DVDs. Like they don't even make computers with those things on it anymore.
No, you gotta buy it separately.
So, yeah, but this is 2024, right? Mm-hmm. In 2030 and 2034, will that even be an option? Will you be able to listen to an old CD or cassette?
You gotta find an old mom and pop's record
Who's
shop.
looking for that?
Not too many people.
That's my point. In order to preserve culture, you have to have something that's readily available, something that people can pass down. If it's passed down but it's obsolete, then how? Like handwriting will never be obsolete. A book will never be obsolete. Physical photos will never be obsolete. How many photos are in your phone that you've had to erase? And how many photos were in your phone that you had to erase to make more space so you could add more stuff to your phone? How many people actually dump their photos onto their computers and put them in a hard drive?
Not too many people.
Okay. So all those photos, all those concerts, all those things, they are temporary in your storage until you run out of space. That is how big business looks at it. And with this, while this may be something that is it may be a byproduct of what's going on, it effectively creates ethiocide. And ethiocide is, and let me go to that, is a cultural genocide or culturecide. It is a concept described by Polish lawyer Ralph Lukim in 1944 in the same book that coined the term genocide. The destruction of culture was a central component in Lucam's formulation of genocide. Through Precious' definition, cultural genocide remains consistent in the United States, and it makes it clear that genocide is the intent to destroy a national, ethical, racial, or religious group. It does not include political groups or so-called cultural genocide. And that cultural destruction does not suffice, nor does it intend to simply disperse groups. Thus, this is what makes the crime of genocide so unique. So when you start to erase, destroy, and exclude certain groups of people and their contributions to the overall culture of a society, you are creating ethnocide. And that's what we're doing. And like I said, this is a byproduct. But we wouldn't have, if we wouldn't have gotten to this point, we wouldn't have understood this 10 years ago when we thought that the internet was infinite. Now we find out that the internet is finite. And and like I said, with the example of your phone storage, anybody that has an Apple device, y'all already know.
Y'all lose storage just about every other day.
Right. So you have to keep erasing stuff in order to back up stuff, but you're not backing it up to anything. And so as a byproduct of this space problem, we are losing entire portions of cultural experiences and the representation of millions of people that don't have the financial power to secure that information in a place that is going to be able to share over the course of the next 50 to 60 decades or century.
That's not even gonna happen.
So we're gonna get written out, especially with the introduction and the introduction and the promotion of artificial intelligence. Right now, it is so hard to verify and solidify facts because everything is generated. There are so many instances where things can be doctored and generated and look like it's real. If a person, listen.
Yeah.
I remember in 2000, in the early 2000s, right before the 2010s, I remember sitting in a conference, a tech conference, and they were introducing this option where you can erase a person out of a photo. And I was like, that's dangerous for people in my community. And again, let me mention that in this room, I was one of 3 females and one of 2 black people. Right? So I was definitely the minority in there. But I felt it was important that I say that this is dangerous in my community. This is dangerous in my community. And the reason why it's dangerous is because you can erase evidence of somebody's existence at a particular place and present that as facts in the court of law.
True.
Now, with AI audio manipulation, you can get a pattern of my voice and create a whole thing that I've never did. You can create a whole scenario. You can falsify evidence stating that I did this. Because remember, at one point you could have recorded information and present that as long as people knew you were recording, right?
Right.
Somebody now can alter my voice, take my voice, alter it, and have something else, a computer generated version of my voice using my voice patterns, and present that as facts.
Yeah.
There are so many ways for us to get hemmed up, and the reality is that we agree to these terms because we want to be on the next fad. We want to be a part of the trends on these social platforms, not knowing where these places are selling our information, our likeness, our data. And we agree to it because we want to have XYZ amount of followers. But we don't read the fine print and see what all is being sold. When you agree to cookies, that means cookies the cookies agree to all your search. So everything that you search or everything that you read in that particular thing, they're allowed because you agree to it. You just want to get to the article, or you just want to get to the website. You don't know that you can deny the cookies and still surf the site. Most people don't know that. You can just say no, and you can still look at the site. So you agree to these things, and then you wonder why you getting all kind of things popping up in your phone for whatever the last thing you talked about or searched, right? You don't know that your computers are listening to you. They're watching you. They know exactly what, like.
They know exactly what time you're doing this.
I was thinking about something. I had a headache, and all of a sudden, all kind of headache references came up and things to drink, and I was like, "What the hell?" I didn't even say anything. So we have to be very careful with our technology, and the reality is that the technology also has the ability to not only misrepresent us, but also misinform us. Mm-hmm. So my question now is, even though I have been an advocate for technology and the ownership of technology and content, I have to now revert to analog and create analog products in the event that the fall of an era occurs, so that I can continue to preserve the cultural content that I've worked so hard to capture and create over the course of now the last 6 to 7 years.
So where you gonna get all this analog stuff from?
You can write. I can.
What you mean I can write?
I can write. I can write. I can go ahead and I can print out a lot of this stuff. I can print it out as a book.
So you can print this out word for word.
No. Audio will always be a thing. I don't know how to fix that one. I don't know. But I'm gonna start with the content that we have, the photos and stuff like that, and the audios and that written stuff, the blogs and stuff. Print those out, put them in a nice little booklet, have them bounded and stuff like that, so that we can use and share, because it really, like, 18 years of my life has been put towards capturing and documenting culture. I would really hate that, I die tomorrow and people feel that it's not worthy, so they don't invest the money in keeping it going, and then everything that I worked for is gone.
I'm gonna have to invest.
Yeah, but
people.
but the idea of investing
and going on.
The idea of investing, people don't understand what those invisible costs are when it comes to maintaining a media outlet, right? Because you don't see the price of the malware protection. You don't see the price of the server. You don't see the price of all of the updates to make sure that the site continues to work effectively and is compliant with all of the changes in technology, what happens almost every 72 hours. Like, this is a real job. Even if it's a hobby, like, you have to constantly be on top of your stuff to make sure that, one, it's safe for other people to view, and two, it's working effectively. Because I am such a web snob. Like, I will go on a site, and if the site looks subpar, I don't even trust it. Like, I don't trust it,
All I could do is shake my head.
It's the same way how I feel about flyers. If I see a flyer that look like it was done in Word, I'm like, now you want me to pay money to go to your thing? No. And if I feel that way, I'm sure that there's thousands of people that feel the same way.
They probably do. You never know.
Um, but back to MTV, and I just think that it's important that we understand that technology does not last forever. The internet is not infinite. It is finite, and the price to do business online is going up because the amount of people that are engaging online has gone up. You know, um, people are now charging to say something about your product, your brand, because they have followers. And so now they have human collateral that they can weigh against your product or brand. We're a community and culture about being seen and not being
Heard.
understood and heard. We want to be seen, but we have nothing to say. That's my 2 cents. You have any further thoughts on the ethiocide of urban culture?
Plain and simple, they trying to get rid of us. That's just plain and simple.
Okay.
Everything we worked for, everything we worked it for, is going down the waste.
All right.
It is. MTV's Paramount got rid of MTV.
Yeah, but you did mention that they have a database. A database came about as a result. Tell me a little bit about that.
The database part is still crazy. They still haven't figured that stuff out as far as the database goes. Where is that?
So, Internet Archive creates a searchable MTV database after Paramount deletes entire site. Right? Last year, MTV News was shut amidst the layoffs at parent company Paramount. And at the end of June, early July, former MTV News editor Patrick Cozen noticed that the music publication's website had been taken down, erasing decades of celebrated music journalism. Now the Internet Archives has come to the rescue for a searchable MTV News database. The database has
460,575 web pages previously published at mtv.com/news, dating back to the website inception in 1996.
Oh shit, that was in 1996. Okay.
So if you go looking for Pac stuff when he got unalived, you might not be able to find it.
Yeah, because I mean, for reasonably 460,000 web pages is not a lot. Like I said, when we shut down, when we weren't shut down, when our server went down, we were 12 years in, probably 13 years in, and we had, and this is audio only. This is not our videos, not our documentaries, not our written content, or our photos, right? We had 52 audio files, which equals up to about 200 and something thousand hours of, like, I could have run our audio our audio files for 9 years. That's how much audio we have. We had 9 years worth of audio
That's a whole lot.
that we could have run if we ran that, and we ran every audio to play back to back to back to back. So in saying that, just looking at that, you're talking about a greater span. So that means that they lost more, they were only able to retrieve about
Probably half
10,
of that.
not even half, about 10 to 12% of their initial files, because that, when you look at that, that's not even a from 1996 to 2024. Yeah, that's not, like I could do that in a year. That number I could do in a year. If you look at my now mix cloud, I think I have almost 1,000 mixes up. And I started that last year. So yeah, no, that's not a lot when you look at the grand scheme of things. And then you're talking about multiple journalists writing. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they have done something to salvage it. One of the things that I suggest in the future is that all journalists, all content producers, all podcasters and DJs, make sure you record your content, you hold a physical backup of it. Just remember, as a part of intellectual property, even though you post your content wherever you post it, make sure you read the stipulations on the websites to make sure that you still own your stuff and you're not giving over the rights to your product, but you own the intellectual property. It's like this. It's just like music. Whoever owns the masters owns the song, right?
Right.
So
Please don't be a Diddy.
you have the masters. You have the photos, you have the video, you have the audio. You wrote and conceptualized the story. Save those things. Create physical, if you can, create physical printouts of those things. If you cannot create physical printouts of those things, hold those things on data things, or data storage.
Hard drives.
Yeah. On hard drives, thumb drives, whatever it is, some type of data storage, and have those as an archive. That's not a data storage that you use. That's just a data storage that you put stuff on so that you have a copy of those things in the event that something like this happens, and then you can monetize that content by creating a database for people to search. Like I said,
read the fine print.
Like I said, I manage and own most of my products. I have a database, I have a website. We have now secured 3 different professional servers to make sure that we can produce and distribute our content. So it is most important that we get people to support our network, because your support helps us to continue to produce content, deliver it, and make sure that it's available for archives for future generations to participate in and experience history that is happening now. Speaking about what's happening now, Hurricane Burrow. So I was in Texas, and I see this. I woke up to this thing that the hurricane was coming. I said, oh, hell. I look in now like, wait, this has been a hot summer. First of all, let me get back to this. It's been a hot summer. We were in the Bahamas. We was in the Bahamas in what, May? We were in Bahamas the latter part of May. It was 100. Yeah, the latter part of May.
Okay, I'll let you. I'll go with that one. I'll go with that one.
The latter part of May. And the weather was 110 to 115 over the course of the weekend that we were there. It cooled down on the Monday, and its cooling down was 108. This is going to be a hot summer. This ain't no play hot summer. This is this is
Meg the Stallion's year.
this is global warming hot summer, okay?
Yeah.
This
it
is a different type of hot summer.
Today it felt like 108 today. 93 degrees and it felt like 108.
Well, I don't know, but I was in Texas and it was I thought my phone was broken because I seen tree numbers. I said, what's going on here? I thought I slept with my phone or something. I see all these O's. I didn't know what.
That's why your butt stayed inside.
Then the hurricane came down. When it started out, it was a hurricane. It was a
Tropical
category. It was a tropical storm, and it went to a category 3. I don't know, but they are saying that Burl just smashed all expectations of what an early season hurricane could become, and it has experts concerned for what would be coming next. So listen, if we
Welcome to Florida.
Listen.
Welcome to Florida.
If we start now, if we start now with a category 5 at the beginning, and this is only what, June, July?
It's only, that one was what, a category 3?
No, baby, I telling you what happened. Listen.
What is it? It was
Listen,
a category
I
1?
didn't tell you, no. So typically early season storms are an indication of what's to come later in the season because the necessary atmospheric conditions for powerful storms aren't yet in place. But Burley broke the mold. Normally, early storm season activity doesn't tell us much about what is going to happen for the rest of the time. A hurricane expert and research scientist at Colorado State University told CNN. But then, when storms are strong in a tropical Atlantic and Eastern Caribbean, it tends to be very busy season.
Which is going to be?
The busiest part of the Atlantic hurricane season doesn't typically begin until mid-August and peaks in September. But Burl, which initially formed in late June, behaved like it already arrived. The water Burl raced through was as warm as it should be in September, so it behaved like a September hurricane. It's something forecasters warn could happen even before the season got underway. Now, the ocean temperature in the Atlantic basin remains historically warm and has been for more than a year, particularly where Burl first became a hurricane. Warm oceans are a major consequence of a world warming due to fossil fuel pollution and provided the fuel for a tropical storm system to explore the straits at a breakneck pace, right? It intensified faster than any other storm on record this early in the season, with its winds increased by 65 miles per hour in just 24 hours. Rapid intensification is becoming more and more likely as climate crisis advances. Burl's early and rapid intensification is an indication of the types of extreme weather events we may see more frequently in the warming world. Listen.
So what was it? A category what?
The storm took advantage of the extremely warm waters and eventually strengthened into the Atlantic's earliest Category 5 hurricane on record.
That means it stayed in a whole lot of water for
Listen,
a long period of time.
Did you not see the videos of Jamaica, Trinidad, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
I saw how much water it was sitting on land.
Listen.
Texas got flooded.
Texas got flooded in Texas, and when it reached Texas, it had already went down to hurricane category 1. Texas got a category 1.
That means it sat in water for a long period of time to get up to a category 5.
Well, listen,
Yeah,
I can tell you,
when it hits land, it decreased.
I can tell you the way I was in the Bahamas during Hurricane Dorian, and the type of fear that I had in Hurricane Dorian, and watching the video footage and the devastation that, like, there's portions of Grenada that is flattened by the hurricane. There's portions of Grenada that are flattened by the hurricane. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they're supposed to have Vinci Mass. They're supposed to have Vinci Mass this month. And guess what? The Prime Minister of the country said we're going to have it because we need that money in order to rebuild.
Yeah.
But
Where they gonna have it at? Cause you still gotta cut all them trees out. You gotta try to get the water off the.
well, we having a fete in the bush.
We having a wet fete in the water.
In the water. No, but seriously though. So, after, like I said, after experiencing Hurricane Dorian and Dorian sitting over Abaco and Freeport for approximately 32 hours, moving at 1 mile per hour, gaining strength. Dorian was the first Category 6 hurricane in history.
Yeah, because it was sitting in water, building itself up.
Okay.
What's the
so
joke? Level up.
At the beginning, this is June, July. At the beginning of Hurricane Sirius, this is B. This ain't even C, E, F, G. This is B. This, babe. I don't think people understand what I saying.
Why you getting scared?
Nigga. It's 24 more letters.
I know.
No, babe. At B, we at a Category 5.
Hold up. How we? Okay, A must have fizzled out. Then B, Railroad came in.
Yeah, because Chris in the background somewhere playing in the bush.
Yeah, leveling it up.
Listen, I don't know. But I, I just know that we are going to be doing a lot of hurricane relief efforts over the course of the next 4 months.
And a whole lot of FEMA work.
We're going to be exactly. I need you guys that are in places that experience hurricanes to take this hurricane season serious, because the way the heat has been
Ridiculous.
at the beginning, not even at the beginning of the summer, in the spring.
Ridiculous.
The way the heat has been, that is an indicator of what is to come. Global warming, they took global warming for a joke. They said it did not exist, whatever the case may be. But now we are feeling the effects, to the point that Texas experienced a Category 1 hurricane, and still, when I say flooded and power is out, flooded and power is out.
But that's the first time.
My cousin told me yesterday that Texas was 80 degrees and it felt good. I said, oh.
That was the first time a hurricane hit Texas.
So
lately.
That should tell you what's popping off this year. We got a lot.
So that means it's going. Florida's due for one.
Well, oh God.
Florida is due for one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm not ready.
The last time we had one was 1992 with Andrew. I think it was Andrew. Hold up, you double check on that. I think it was Andrew. And that only hit Homestead. Homestead's somewhere to still do.
So, according to listen, they now predict that the Atlantic season will have 25 named storms, including 12 hurricanes, half of which will become major hurricanes of at least Category 3 strength. Yeah, this is going to be a busy year.
whole lot of water we gotta go get.
So, in saying that, I want you guys to follow our website. Make sure you bookmark playmass.today. Go ahead and bookmark this particular show. In the write-up, we're going to put the information for ways that you can support and help the countries that have been affected by the recent hurricane and what efforts are being made. Every time that there's a hurricane and the Bahamas suffers, countless Caribbean countries come together and support and donate and make sure that we are taken care of. As a Bahamian citizen and as a Caribbean person, I implore you to do your part, make a contribution, send whatever you can, and support the various countries that have been hit by the hurricane. Like I said, St. Vincent and the Grenadines have been hit really hard. Jamaica has been hit really hard. They're still out of electricity. Portions of Grenada have been flattened by the hurricane. And again, we have our neighbors in the U.S. over on the west side in Texas that have also experienced hardships as a result of the hurricane. As time progresses, as the season continues, there are going to be countless communities that are going to be devastated. Do your part, because today for them, tomorrow for you. This is Africa Law, right here on Being Africa Law, Playmass.today, Discover Music Channel with my better half.
DJ Trill, see ya.
All right.